individual accountability and cold calling. Cold calling isn't named as a cooperative learning structure, but we have learned about cold calling from Teach Like a Champion. It's a text many of our newer teachers have studied over the years, and culturally responsive teaching strategies. You know the popsicle sticks where we write the students' names? It certainly ties into the individual accountability piece of cooperative learning. You know, the joke with the popsicle sticks is teachers in our lower grades use them because all the learners have their hands up and they want to speak. And teachers in our secondary grades use them because not all the learners have their hands up wanting to speak. But the truth is, we use them to promote equity and to keep students individually accountable at any level. Kagan says, in cooperative learning, students work in teams to learn. But that doesn't mean students can hide behind teammates. If we are to have gains for all students, then each student must be regularly held individually accountable for his or her own contributions in learning. This video begins with students engaged in a round robin on Monday morning. Each table partner is taking turns sharing what they thought about using hand up, stand up, pair up the Friday before. Notice Nancy doesn't have popsicle sticks, but instead uses the table numbers on the table mats and the place numbers to call on students. A cooperative learning classroom is a safe place for students to be called upon. Nancy also provides students with some think time, a chance to oral rehearse with one another in partner shares before she asks the students to share out.
Because everybody knows who's available and who's not, because you can physically see them put their hand up.
Yeah, it was a lot easier to find a part.
Did you like it? Did you not like it? Good, different? Okay, so it's Benito. You give us some reason why. Thumbs up or thumbs down for Benito? Why? Okay, Dearest.
Instead of having to run across the room, it's like,
It was
when you had encounters with another person.
Beautiful. What is this again? Yeah, this was our quiet signal. I'm so glad you guys remember that. Beautiful job. Number 2's at your table. We're going to start with group 4. So number 2 at group 4, tell me what you thought about the hand up, stand up, pair up.
We thought that it was like well organized, so that we knew if someone was like, you could go to that person.
Okay, very good. So you had somebody that you can go to, and you knew you had somebody to go to based on if they had their hand up. Number 1 at your table, group 3.
I thought it went well because you got to like share what you had in common with other people.
Very good. So you began to see similarities and differences. Thank you. Number 4 at your table. Tell us what you thought, group 6.
Well, I thought it was okay, but you didn't get to choose your partner. If there was other people working and someone else had their hand up, you went to them, and you got to meet new people.
Okay, so it was a little bit different. You didn't get to choose your partner, but because you constantly had your hand up, circulating the room, looking for somebody to high five, you did get an opportunity to meet other people. Thank you. Fan and pick. When we did that, with looking at our course essential questions, what did you think about the structure of fan and pick? Okay, not necessarily about the content as far as the essential questions, but what did you think about the structure in terms of having the cards laid out and one person picking the card and a couple people answering and somebody else paraphrasing? Do the same thing at your table, about maybe 30 seconds of quick discussion, what you thought of the structure, and then we'll respond similarly by calling on a number at your table.
It was good because everybody had to listen.
It was nice and organized because we would know like what person was going to do what step, and we got to hear everyone talk.
It's good. I like how the fan picker works. Like you have 2 people answering, so like you have 2 people answering, helping each other. And then you have one person that reads the question and one person that paraphrases the 2 people answering.
And then when we were ready for the next question, it was super easy because we could just turn it sideways and then we would all have our answers.
Alex is providing the visual. Thank you very much. Nice. Group number 2. Tell us what you guys thought.
I thought that it was, but we thought that, it was like a good system that we could all do. Like, there's like 2 people answering, so we have 2 answers, like, that you would
Gotcha. So it was a good system because everybody had something to do. Is that accurate? Okay.
As we mentioned before the video began, cold calling is a way to honor the I in the PIES principle. Cold calling holds students individually accountable for participating in the thinking. Let's think for a minute about cold calling versus hand raising. When students raise hands, what are we valuing? Order? Participation? That's fair. We can also accomplish order and participation with cold calling. What about speed? Are we inadvertently sending the message that we should value speed over thoughtfulness when we ask students to raise hands? And secondly, what are the students doing that don't have hands raised? Are they thinking? Are they thinking, phew, other people know the answer? I wish I knew the answer. Are they frustrated because they haven't had a chance to think about the answer? Are they daydreaming? Do they throw in the towel because they know it takes them longer to process, so they're not even going to try and keep up? Probably different things for different students, right? Moving from hand raising to cold calling instantly changes the level of accountability in our classes. Cold calling isn't about a gotcha, calling on a student because you didn't think they were paying attention and you want to embarrass them. It sometimes gets a bad rap because it's associated with that. Cold calling is about structuring the time to think so everyone has a chance to do the learning. I have to admit, it was fun when I was in the classroom and I was on a roll and hands were eagerly popping up. And I had a couple of kids in the class keeping pace with my brain and where I wanted to go. While those moments were fun, I know now I certainly was not helping all students become capable, curious, and confident. The hardest part about making the shift was stopping myself mid-question or mid-sentence to say, we're going to have 15 seconds of think time, and then turn and talk to your partner, shoulder partner, or face partner. There are some great spinners online that can also keep things very random, and you can let the technology choose who might share out. The technology was helpful to me because, quite honestly, my students continued to outsmart my systems. So obviously, if I said, okay, all of the 3s are going to share out, then everybody who's a 1, 2, or a 4 in the whole class gets to tune out. They're not on the hook anymore. Or if I were going through making sure somebody from each table shared, and I said, okay, table 7, I need your number 2 person to share, and then they knew I was going to go to table 6, I need your number 1 person to share. Well, as each table shared out, then they were off the hook and could also disengage and stop listening as carefully to their peers. Whereas if the calling is truly more random, everybody continues to stay engaged and on the hook.